morning all of you. This is Biology for class 12th, chapter 11, Biotechnology Principles and Processes. Lecture number 6. Today we will discuss about bioreactors and downstream processing. So let's start with bioreactors. Bioreactors are the vessels, large vessels, in which raw materials are biologically converted into specific products. Raw material which is used here is converted into products like proteins or any type of medicine can be prepared here, and enzymes using microbial, plant, animal or human cells. So these cells can be used here for the preparation of any protein or any enzyme. All these are kept in these large vessels, means in bioreactors, and then we get our products from these bioreactors. Bioreactors are used to produce large quantities of products. They can process 100 to 1000 liters of culture. Culture means the nutrient medium and the microbes which are kept in it. So all that solution is kept in bioreactors, and up to 1000 liters of culture can be processed at one time in bioreactors. A bioreactor provides optimal growth conditions like temperature, pH, substrate, salts, vitamins, oxygen to get desired product. So all these things are set in the bioreactors. We can set temperature, pH, and also substrate concentration, salts, vitamins, things which are required for the optimal growth of the microbes. Okay, all these things we can set in a bioreactor, and that's why, because this temperature, pH is suitable for the microbial growth. That's why there will be optimal growth of the microbes and we will get more quantity of desired product. Now there are different types of bioreactor. So first is stirred tank bioreactor, and these are most commonly used bioreactors. These are called stirred tank bioreactor. It is usually cylindrical or with a curved base to facilitate the mixing of reactor contents. You can see this curved base of this bioreactor, and this curved base is advantageous as it helps in mixing of the reactor content. The culture which is inside this reactor will be mixed easily due to this curved base. The stirrer facilitates even mixing and oxygen availability. So here you can see this is a stirrer is also present here, which helps in mixing of the culture and also oxygen availability. Due to this continuous stirring, there will be more oxygen availability. Okay, and all these things are present here. As you can see here, acid and base inlet for pH control. Okay, pH can be controlled by addition of acid or base in the culture. Then this is steam for sterilization. Okay, to prevent our culture from any contamination, steam is going inside for sterilization, right? This is motor for stirring. This is on the upper side. This is foam breaker, because due to continuous stirring, foams will be formed on the upper side of culture, and these blades are for breaking that foam. Okay, that's why this is foam breaker, and these are flat bladed impeller for the mixing. Okay, all these are flat bladed impeller for the mixing, and this is for foam breaking. And here you can see this is culture, and from here sterile air means for the oxygen which is required for the microbes here. So this is inlet for sterile air. So all these inlets, all these components are present here in this stirred tank bioreactor. You need to make this diagram with all these labelings. Next type of bioreactor is sparged tank bioreactor. In this bioreactor, oxygen is bubbled into the system. So you can see here, these are oxygen bubbles. What is the advantage of these bubbles? These bubbles increase the oxygen transfer area, and the shape provides increased surface area for oxygen transfer. Okay, you can see these bubbles increase the oxygen transfer area. Okay, as you can see here, due to bubble formation, the surface area is increased. Okay, and due to increased surface area, there you can say more oxygen is transferred here, right? And due to more availability of oxygen, what will happen? Yield of product will increase. Okay, so in sparged bioreactor, there is increased surface area for oxygen transfer, so there is increased yield of the product. So this is an advantage of sparged tank bioreactor. Here you can see this is impeller blade for the stirring. Okay, all these inlets for the acid and base, for the motor, for the stirrer here. Okay, all these things are present here in sparged tank bioreactor also, but these are not shown in the diagram. We are showing only the advantage, that it has bubbles for increasing the surface area. Only we are talking about that. But all other things which were present in stirred tank bioreactor, like motor and acid base inlet, sterile air inlet, those are also present here in it. These are parts of a bioreactor. First, an agitator system for mixing of culture. As you can see here, this mixer is called agitator system. Flat blade impeller. Impeller you can see here also. This is for agitating of culture or mixing of culture, you can say. Second, an oxygen delivery system, that inlet for sterile air, and here also this is air inlet for sterile air. This is called oxygen delivery system. Then a foam control system. So this foam breaker you can see here, this is foam control system. A temperature control system is also present in bioreactor, because we need to set the temperature for the optimum growth of microbes. Okay, then a pH control system, this acid base inlet is for controlling the pH. Then sampling ports. Sampling ports are for periodic withdrawal of the culture, because the used culture is withdrawal of used culture is done, and unused culture is transferred again for the growth of microbes. So all these parts are present in a bioreactor. Our next topic is downstream processing. So downstream processing is a series of processes such as separation and purification of products. So the product that is formed inside a bioreactor due to microbial growth, we need to separate that product and we need to purify that product, because there will be many other biomolecules will be there with our desired product, okay, with our desired protein. For example, if we are forming a particular enzyme or a particular protein, then there will be some other proteins also, there will be some other macromolecules also in that culture. So we need to purify our products from those other products. So in downstream processing we are doing that. So after the biosynthetic stage, we can see biosynthetic stage in which microbes are growing. Okay, next the product is formulated with suitable preservatives. Okay, after the separation we preserve our product with suitable preservatives, because different preservatives are used for different products preservation. Such formulation undergoes clinical trials and strict quality control testing. Okay, before the commercialization of any medicine, any protein or enzyme, it undergoes clinical trials and also quality control testing is done. And only after that commercialization of any enzyme or protein can be done. A system like this is used for the downstream processing. Different vessels are used and from one vessel to another vessel, our products are transferred for the separation and purification like this. Now these are the steps of downstream processing that you need to do. So we can have two types of products, like intracellular products. We can have the product which are produced inside a cell, or extracellular products can be there, like a cell can secrete some products, so extracellular products can be there. Then first of all, if the product is intracellular, then cell disruption is done, okay, and this cell disruption can be by mechanical means, by physical means, or with the use of some chemical it can be done, or with the help of some enzymes it can be done, right? After that, removal of insolubles, the insoluble particles are removed from that in case of extracellular products as well as in case of intracellular products, right? This removal of insoluble is done with the help of these techniques: centrifugation, flocculation. These are different techniques for the removal of insoluble. So you can just learn about the techniques that you know, like you know about centrifugation, you know about filtration, also sedimentation. So with the help of these techniques, these insolubles are removed. Then isolation. For isolation, absorption, evaporation, extraction, these techniques can be used. After isolation, purification is done with the help of chromatography or precipitation. Precipitates can be formed as you have formed in chemistry lab. So precipitates can be formed and the purification can be done. Then after that, finishing. For the finishing, crystallization, drying or sterilization processes can be used, and then we obtain our final product. So these steps are used for downstream processing. Now this chapter has been completed, and for today you need to do NCERT question number 6 and 10, and tomorrow an assignment of this chapter will be uploaded on edquark.com. You need to do that.